Today we'll be working on the SI joint, on the sacroiliac joint, which is a bit complicated. We're going to be doing some rolling to begin. So some rolling with balls. So I have 2 sets of balls today, and I'm going to be using one to get into the low back. And then I'm going to be using one to get into the gluteal area. So the tennis ball will do just fine. And so I was wondering if you have anything to roll, if you're new today. Perfect, wonderful, great, excellent. Great, and then yes, in the toes. So we're going to get into the back a little bit and then the butt a little bit. Then we'll do a little bit of stretching and then finish with some strengthening. So the sacroiliac joint is a bit complicated because we have to have strong core to stabilize the core and the pelvis. And then we have to have strong mobile hips. So things can move in opposition or in separation from one another so that we can have good disassociation or separation of movement. And what happens is when the hips are weak or the hips don't move well, then the SI joint, which is supposed to be stable, tries to become a mobile joint. So what we have to do is make the hips mobile so that the sacroiliac can become stable. And then we have to make the low back mobile. Because then again, if the low back is locked up and the low back, which is supposed to be mobile joint, is not mobile, then the sacroiliac joint will become mobile. So in our body, our joints go in patterns. It goes mobile, stable, mobile. So we have really mobile hips. Then we have a generally stable pelvis and sacroiliac joints. Then we have a mobile spine where every segment moves. And so we want to keep that. And that's what we're going to work on doing today in this session. So we'll begin by lying on our backs, introducing just a little bit of movement, learning how to move things separately. And then again, I want to bring it all together with some strength at the end. So for today, come onto your back, take a single ball out of the toes to begin. Let's start with the right side. So take that ball right to the middle of your right buttock, and then you can let your pelvis drop towards the floor. And then let's just begin by bringing our hands to the pelvis. And we're going to start making some hip circles. So I'm going to slide the leg down along my mat. Then I'm going to turn my leg out, and then I'm going to bring it up to the side like a frog leg, kind of like you're doing the breaststroke. So I want you to monitor the pelvis. So hands are right on the bony hip point in the front. So the pelvis stays stable. And then you'll feel the mobility of the ball moving inside the socket of the hip joint. And I'm not lifting the leg or hovering the leg. I'm sliding my heel the whole time on the floor. So I'm sliding it down the center, and I'm actually going to take my sock off. Sliding it down the center, turning it out, and bringing it up like a frog leg. Assessing the mobility of the ball inside the socket of my right hip joint. And then now, let's see what happens if we change directions. Now, let your knee fall out to the right. Slide the leg down. Turn the knee in and then come up the midline. Let the knee fall out to the side without letting the pelvis or the spine move. So you're monitoring with your hands on your belly, not using the hands to stabilize, just using the hands to monitor Do one more circle on the right side, pausing with your legs straight out toward on the floor. Now the ball is in my buttock on the right in the butt. And now I want to squeeze my right glute into the ball. And as I squeeze my behind into the ball, I actually feel myself contract so that I lift up off of the ball just a little bit. And then I'm going to release and sink in a little bit more. So once I relax, I'll feel myself move farther into the ball. So the gluteals spread, accommodating the ball, getting a little deeper. Now I'll contract again, just engaging just the right side. And I'm purposely doing one side and the other, because when the sacroiliac joint is strained, or when it really needs to maintain stability or work well, is when we're in an asymmetrical pattern, like walking. And then release and allow your behind to sink into the ball. We'll do that one more time. Notice if you need to move or change the position of the ball in your buttock. Squeeze, hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. And now bend the right knee again. So now we're back into that starting position. Bring your hands back to the pelvis. Feel your pubic bone, feel the front hip points, and feel your belly flat. Keep all of that right where it is. Now all we're going to do is rock the knee out to the side, and then rock the right knee back into center. Rock the knee out to the side. Spine and pelvis don't move. Rock the knee back to the center. Out to the side. Back to the center. And all of this can be done actually without any therapy balls. And then now on the next time it comes out to the side, squeeze the behind, just like we did with the legs straight. Hold that for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. And then we'll do that 2 more times. Reposition the ball if necessary, finding that just right spot. Pelvis still stays level, so your spine is in and your pelvis are completely in midline. The only thing moving away from midline is the hip ball inside the hip socket. Hold, squeeze for 3, 2, 1, and release. And then we'll do that one more time, letting the right knee fall out to the side without the pelvis going with it. Feeling that separation and that freedom right in the hip joint. Squeeze, holding 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. And then bringing the right knee back to midline. And now remove the therapy ball and just let both legs come down onto the floor. And feel the difference now between the right leg and the left leg. The side we just worked might feel longer. It might feel wider. It might feel heavier or lighter. Just notice the difference of engaging that right hip. Integrate the effects of the practice and the change. And then bend both knees. Let's change sides. So take the therapy ball underneath your left buttock now. Let the right hip come towards the floor. Find that just right spot. Bring your hands to the pelvis, so hands are monitoring the belly. And then now we're going to do that frog leg to begin again. Starting from the top, let the leg straighten out. Turn the hip out to the side, bring the knee up. And all we're doing is drawing circles with the ball of the hip inside the hip socket. Like the breaststroke, but spine stays still, pelvis stays still. Notice if you can feel the top of the hip, kind of like a mortar and pestle, the hip just circling inside of that bowl. You can make those circles as big or as little as you need in order to isolate that motion. And then reverse the direction, letting the knee fall out to the side, leg coming down, rotating the knee in, and then coming back to center. One more time. The next time the leg is straight out towards the floor, keep the leg there. Let the leg straighten, heel rests on the floor, and then squeeze just the left buttocks. Hold that contraction for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. And then let's do it again. Squeeze the left buttock. Hold it for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Maybe finding one more spot, a little bit of a different spot. You can just use your hand to reposition the ball if it feels right. And then squeeze the left glute. Try to get every fiber turning on. So each time you want to feel it light up a little bit more. So all of those motor units in the glute are becoming re-educated, learning how to work in isolation. Holds for 3, 2, 1, and then relax, feeling how the ball really sinks right into the glutes, deep into the hip rotators. And now we'll move into the hip rotators a little bit more by bending your left knee again. Hands still monitoring the pelvis. We're just changing the direction of motion now, letting your left knee fall to the side and then come back up to neutral. Left knee falls to the side. Spine and pelvis stay in midline. And then on the next rock, outward with the knee. Let the knee stay out there, but keep the pelvis level. And now in this externally rotated position, squeeze your left buttocks. Engage the glute and the deep hip rotators that lie beneath the glute. Now that you can get in a little deeper, see if you can feel even deeper in the glute engage to get the knee to push outward. Pushing the ball away for 3, 2, 1, and then release. Noticing if as you release, the hip softens and goes out a little bit more. And then let's do that again. Squeeze the left buttocks, engaging all of the muscles, getting every fiber to contract, feeling how as you contract, you push the ball out. Hold for 7, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Feel yourself soften into the ball a little bit more. Glutes softening, ball deepening. And then we'll do that one last time. Squeezing and holding, left butt engaging, left knee pushing outward, pelvis and spine staying in midline. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. Remove the therapy ball. Let both legs straighten out now. And just feel the difference of how your legs rest on the floor. Feel the broadening through the back body, the softening through the glutes. Maybe you even feel the sacrum resting a little bit more on the earth. And now, I want to now work on separating the motion now of the spine. So we just worked on the hips. Now we'll come above to the spine. And for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my therapy balls and the toes, and I'm going to place them right at the broad part of my sacrum. So the wide point of the triangular bone at the base of the spine, both together. So if you don't have balls in a tote, you can just do it without, or you can put 2 tennis balls into a sock and tie a knot so they stay together. But it works just as well without anything. And what we're going to do is we're going to create some movement in the pelvis now and the low back. So I'm just going to place the balls there, and they're like a fulcrum. And I'm just going to rock over the balls, coming into a little anterior pelvic tilt. And then I'm going to tuck the tail towards my knees, coming into a posterior pelvic tilt. And I'm just rolling over the balls. Or I'm just rolling over the ground, feeling both sides of the sacrum move simultaneously. So noticing if there is a tendency to move one side more than the other, or if one side drives the motion. And then now I'm going to remove the therapy balls, bring my pelvis back to the floor, and I'm just going to do a few little bridges because I want to feel this midline movement now of the spine, and I want to feel equal length on both sides of the spine. So I'm going to roll the spine up to about the bottom of the rib cage. Then I'm going to roll down, trying to get every segment of the spine to touch, getting the low back to touch at the same time, and then the sacrum to touch. And I can even come into an anterior tilt, coming all the way down towards the tailbone. Then I'm going to scoop along the tailbone like I'm rocking onto my low back. And then I'm going to peel each segment up one at a time. And you'll see how this plays a role in just a minute. And then I'm going to roll back down evenly on both sides. See if I can get the left side and right side to touch simultaneously, staying right in the middle. And what I want you to feel for is how the low back stays long on both sides as we do this. Noticing if there's the tendency to want to push through one side more, noticing if there's the tendency to want to twist. It's just a little gentle bridge, rolling up the spine and rolling down the spine, keeping length on both sides. Perfect. Just find stillness. Feel the back supported, the pelvis supported. Your hands can even rest on the pelvis still, if that feels good. And then now we're going to change directions, moving the pelvis again. So now what we're going to do, we just did forward and back. Now we're going to do a twisting action. So I'm going to have you push through the left heel. As you push through the left heel, notice how the left hip bone moves forward. So you rock towards the right. This is like swinging the left leg. And then now rock, push into the right heel, rock towards the left, swinging the right leg. And you'll feel how it's like you're steering your pelvis. You could even take your hands, like you have one of those big steering wheels in front of you, and steer the hips over to the left as you push through the right foot. And then steer the pelvis over towards the right as you push through the left foot, feeling how you move from side to side now, rocking from, it's kind of like if you're skiing, you're rocking from the edge of one ski, turning, rocking to the edge and riding the edge of the other ski. And this happens with every single step that we take. So really what we're doing is we're breaking down walking with all of these actions. So now we're just moving through the pelvis, side to side, rocking from right edge of the sacrum or right SI joint to the left SI joint. Very little movement, gentle rocking motion. Noticing if one way is easier than the other, trying to use the direction that's easier, feeling that pattern in the body. And then moving to the side that might be a little bit harder, seeing if you can match that sensation. Go 2 more times to each side. Last time. And then relax. Maybe let the legs straighten out for 1 minute, letting the feet rock in and out, still feeling that freedom of the hips, rocking in the hip sockets. And then now we're going to start to bring it all together a little bit more. So now we're going to layer the hip on top of maintaining a long spine and level pelvis. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to the right side again. And I want you to cross the right foot over the left knee. And just notice if to get that there, you start to hike the right hip up. Can you bring your awareness to the back and notice if the back on the right side became a little short? So now what we want to do is we want to lengthen that right side out again by pushing the right knee away. And I want you to even use your hands to help. Take the web space of your hands and place the web space right into the front of the hip creases here, pushing those hip creases away so that the spine stays long and even on both sides. And now we're going to engage the glute. Long spine, level pelvis, push the right knee away by engaging the right hip. So push the right knee away from you towards where your feet would be. Hands can stay in the creases of the hip if you'd like to monitor that you have equal weight on both sides, that you're still in midline in the pelvis and the spine. And then release. Feel the hip sink into the socket. Notice if the back wants to ride up and the spine or the space between the pelvis and the hip or the ribs and the hip want to shorten on the right. If so, keep it long. And then push the right knee away. So right knee is moving to where your feet would be. Engage the back of the right hip. The hip rotator is working here. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. And then let's do that one more time. Push the knee away. Feel the belly gently engage. Spine stays long, back stays long on both sides. Feel the right glute engage. Holds for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. And then now, staying in this kind of position, let the arms come out like a T, hands come to the floor. Now, your right foot is just gonna rotate to the side so that your right foot lands on the floor. And you'll start to feel a nice long lengthening in the right side of the body. So we're gonna come into that. This is like the right foot reaching, the right foot stepping. And so I want you to reach away with your right knee, like you're reaching with your right knee towards your left foot as your right shoulder stays on the floor. See if you can reach away, and it almost pulls the right hip forward, and then just relax. And then do that a few more times. Reach, push through the right foot, reach away through the right knee. Feel that distraction through the right SI joint, right low back, right hip, and then release. And then do that one more time. Reach away. Like you're trying to increase the length between your right knee and right hands. And then release. And then now reach away, and we're going to add one more part to this. Now, push your right knee down towards your feet, where your feet would be. Engage the hip rotators again. So you're lengthening through this right side and pushing the right knee down, feeling the right glutes turn on. Hold that for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. We're going to do that 2 more times. So you're in this nice twist and still working, so stretching and lengthening as well as activating. So push your right foot into the floor, right knee pushes away, lengthening first, and then down towards the feet, engaging the butt on the right side, right hip rotators engaging, feel the back of the right buttock engage, even though the spine is lengthening. Hold that for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. And then we'll do that one more time. Press into the right foot, reach the right knee to the left side, and then reach the right knee down towards your feet, keeping your foot on the floor. So the floor under the right foot is giving you something to push into for strength. Right shoulder stays on the mat. As much length as you can between the right
hand and right knee. Activate that right glute for 3, 2, 1, and then release. Come back to center. Let the right leg come down. Maybe rock the knees side to side a few times. And as you rock side to side, just notice the difference between the left and right side. And then maybe the legs, if it feels right, come down to the floor again. And again, notice the difference between the left and right side. If there's a difference in length, or if it feels like there's a difference in length or space in the hips and the back. And then we'll begin again on the other side. So come back to your lying on your back with your knees bent, just to reconnect to center. Find one bridge where you roll up and roll down, laying each backbone down to the floor so that the low back is long on both sides, so that there's no compression in the side waist on either side. And then cross your left knee over the right. Take your web space of your hand, that L between your thumb and index finger, put that L right into the hips, and the hip, push the hips away, really lengthening out the back. And then monitor where you are in space. Do you have equal weight on the left and right side? Is one side longer or shorter than the other? Can you feel and come back to center? And then now, let's begin by pushing the left knee away, trying to turn out the left hip more, but monitor the pelvis. Make sure that you don't twist, that you still have equal length, equal space in the low back on both the left and right sides. Hold that for 3 more seconds, 2 more, 1 more second, and then release. We'll do this variation 2 more times, starting coming back to midline, feeling equal space. Hands can monitor on the belly, on the hips, even in the low back, whatever feels right for you. Or you can keep pushing away into the hip joints if that feels good. As you push the left, actively push the left knee away. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Be really careful of how you enter and exit, that you ramp up and ramp down so that you're not torquing the spine. Then we'll do that 1 more time. Push the knee away. Feel the glute engage. Low back long on both sides. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and then release. Let the hip drop back into the socket. Just rest for a minute. Then bring your arms out like a T. Let your knees rock over to the right, bringing your left foot to the floor. So now you're in a twist. Palms can face up or down. Sometimes in this, I like to face my left palm down so that I can push into that left palm as I reach my knee more to the right. And maybe you can take your right hand and use that right hand to assist the pelvis over to the right, to feel that lengthening that first time. Keep the left shoulder, left arm down, reach the knee towards the right more, and then release. And you'll feel how that rotation comes from the lower spine, from the pelvis. It's like you're swinging that leg forward. Reach the left knee away again. And then come back. And then let's do that one more time. Reach away. And then release. And then now the last time, reach away. And now add that pushing of the knee down towards your feet so that you really feel your butt turn on. Left foot is pressing into the floor so that you have a stable ground to push off of. Engage the back of the left hip. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and then release. Just let the pelvis be heavy. Staying in that twist, relaxing there for a breath. And then pushing into the left foot again, reaching the left knee towards the right side of the body. Then pressing your knee towards the feet, engaging the back side of the left buttock. Feeling the foot push down, knee reach away. Whole left side is long. So low back is really long, and then glute is turned on. Deep in the glute, feel the hip rotators engage. And release. And then one more time. Push into your left foot. The right knee almost becomes this little anchor that you can push against. Feel the back of the left leg engage. Breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Come back to center. Uncross your legs. Let the knees rock or the legs come down, whatever feels good for you. Resting for just a minute, feeling the heaviness of the pelvis, of the hips, of the low back on the floor. Noticing how we did a lot of mobility, but we actually used a lot of musculature to regain that. And now we're going to come into our final kind of sequence of strengthening here to engage in a walking type pattern. So our body moves in diagonals, which are functional. And in order to decompress the low back, the pelvis, and the lumbar spine, we have to engage in the front body. So we really have to get the abdominals activated here. And there's 2 ways we could do this. We could do this right here, which I'm going to do today. But generally, just so you know, when I do this, I prefer to actually turn towards the wall and actually have my feet on the wall like I'm sitting in a chair. Both are fine, but let's try it here. And then if you're feeling like it goes into your back, it goes into your SI joint, you don't feel enough support, know that the wall is an option for you. So I want you to begin by pressing your left foot down into the floor. Feel how when you push the left foot into the floor, the left butt engages. And that's like you're standing on that leg when you're walking. Now, think about if you were walking, if you're pushing down and back with your left leg, your left arm would swing forward and your right knee would swing forward. So now I'm going to march my right knee towards my chest, and I'm going to make it a big march. And I really want to feel the low belly now engage on the right side. And now I'm going to reach my left arm forward. So I'm pushing down with my left butt, pulling in with my right knee, and then reaching with my left arm. And so now I want to push into all of those a little bit more so that I actually even feel like a little bridge on my left side. And then I want to feel like a little crunch from my left elbow to my right knee. And I'm going to hold that for 5 breaths. And then I'm going to release. Oops. And sorry, you guys just lost my picture for some reason. 1 second. I'm going to do that 2 more times on that side. Sorry about that. So I'm pushing down through my left leg, and then I'm doing a little like crunch, like cross body crunch with my right knee to my left elbow. So begin though by pushing down with your left foot, feeling that buttocks engage, feeling the belly pull in. And now I'm gonna pause in just the littlest tiniest bridge, lift, and I'm gonna hold that, 5 breaths. Butt engaging on the left, belly engaging. And then release. Beautiful. Instead of reaching the arm up overhead, reach the arm kind of towards that opposite knee. So just for a second before we do that last one, think like you're bringing your left elbow towards your right knee as you reach so that shoulder blade lifts off the floor just a little bit. Can you guys hear me? Did I freeze? Oh, I'm back. Okay. So one more time, press through the left heel, reach the left elbow towards the right knee, push down through the left as you pull your knee and elbow towards one another. I want you to feel like you're sprinting, and you're going to engage the belly, hold for 5 breaths. One more breath and release. And then now let's move to the other side, hugging your left knee into your chest. Push through the right heel. Feel the right butt kick in, the low belly engage as you pull your knee really into the chest. And then bring your right elbow towards the left knee. Here we go for 5 breaths. Reach with the arm, reach up with the arm, reach down with your heel, pull in with your knee. Everything should feel like it's working, stabilizing, tightening. One more breath and then release. We'll do 2 more rounds of that. Push down through the right heel. Feel a little tuck of the tail. Pull in through the left knee. That's going to help engage the belly even more. And here we go. Reach and push. Two more breaths. And release. And then last time. Left knee comes into chest. Right knee, right heel pushes down. Breathe in, exhale, engage everything. Holding for 5 breaths. Like that's a progressive crunch. Each time goes a little bit, push a little bit more. Last breath. And then lowering down. Let your legs come down. Let your arms come out. Let the whole body relax. Maybe wiggle the feet in and out. Feeling the freedom of the hip motion. Maybe contract the butt one time here lying down. Feel that glute contraction on both sides. Holding it. And then releasing and feeling how much you can sink into the floor. Let your breath return to normal. Let go of any work. Unclench the jaw. Relax the head. Let go of any thinking and just take a moment to allow the body to integrate what it just did. feeling supported, feeling at ease. Returning to midline. And then as you're ready, you can return to sitting. To complete the practice. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're feeling mobile and strong so that we can maintain balance in the body. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.